And right now I'd like to welcome Kelli Morris, who is the Director of Financial Abuse Specialist Team, also known as FAST, with the Council on Aging, Orange County. Nice to see you.
Nice to be here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you folks do a lot, the Council on Aging, but today we're going to focus on elder abuse prevention programs and this program called FAST, Financial Abuse Specialist Team,
That's
right?
correct. That's right. It's actually housed under the same program, so it's kind of a two-prong program. So the Elder Abuse Prevention Program is really focused on outreach and education. We go out into the community and we talk to seniors and their families, professional caregivers, and we specifically talk to them about financial abuse and what things to look out for, how to prepare yourself so that you don't become a victim of financial abuse. And then the second part of our program is the Financial Abuse Specialist Team.
Right.
And that's actually a group of volunteers from a lot of different professions. We have Adult Protective Services, Ombudsman, local police, we have FBI, we have Social Security Administration, we have the Department of Justice, we have elder law attorneys.
Wow.
And
You've really got a lot of services, right?
A lot of services, yeah. So what we do is we actually get together once a month and we do review of complicated cases of financial abuse that are either with Adult Protective Services or the Ombudsman. And, you know, many times these cases of abuse are not eligible for criminal prosecution.
Right.
So we kind of act as a creative think tank to think of ways to at least stop the abuse if we can't get some kind of criminal prosecution.
So this is an interesting slide here, that annual financial loss by victims of elder financial exploitation, the most recent figure, I guess, but $2.9 billion in 2009, which is a 12% increase from 2008.
Right, and what's interesting about that is that's the last official published study that was done in 2009. So you can imagine that represented a 12% increase in a year. You can imagine how much that's grown exponentially between 2009 and 2016.
Yeah, that's incredible. And let me ask you quickly on that. There's all forms of financial abuse.
Yes.
It can be a family member.
That's correct.
It can be someone scamming someone in the parking lot.
Right.
Or online. Or like, for instance, the calls that my dad got recently, you know, we're with the IRS. That's a big one right now.
Of course.
Right?
Yes.
It runs the gamut of that.
That's right.
And we're also, obviously, part of this is elder abuse, because that certainly falls into it. 11% of all elder abuse cases occur in California.
That's right. California is outpacing the nation in financial abuse, and Southern California is outpacing the rest of the state. We're not sure exactly why that is.
Larger population,
Yeah,
maybe?
our best guess is that we have almost 400,000 seniors here in Orange County currently, and we expect that number to grow exponentially by the year 2030.
Right. And I would say probably here in Florida are
Yes.
probably the top two, right?
Yes.
And on the next slide, only 1 in 14 cases of elder abuse are reported to authorities.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And I think there's another study that was done more recently that indicates it's more prevalent than that actually only 1 in 25 cases. And, you know, we can talk about why that's true. You know, of course, it's embarrassing, regardless of your age, to have someone get one over on you, right? And steal the money that you worked so hard in all your life to earn and save. But with seniors, there are some other special considerations. The abuser, as you stated earlier, might be a family member or a caregiver, someone you're dependent on for care. So if you turn them in, then who's going to take care of you? That's always a concern. And more importantly, you know, seniors, if they are living independently, start worrying, well, maybe my family now thinks that I'm not capable of caring for myself, and they're going to put me into an assisted living situation. So they run the risk of having their independence taken away if they report it.
And here, for every elder abuse case known to programs and agencies, 24 on them, like kind of what you said.
It's just, and again.
And I would think, I don't mean to interrupt you, but in many cases, they are not aware that they're being abused.
That's true.
They may not be fully in touch with what's going on, so they don't even know.
And I think
Yeah,
often,
especially financial.
right, and I think often even after they figure it out, they think, well, why should I report it?
Right.
They're not going to do anything for me.
Yeah.
And again, while that might be true, we may not be able to do anything for your particular case. If you don't report it, we don't know that it's going on. You know, when you talk about these scam artists who are in the parking lot or on the internet or on the phone, these are people who could be all over the world, and they're a really organized group of global thieves
Exactly.
that prey on seniors. And it's important to remember that the FBI and the Federal Trade Commission look at them kind of like cells of terrorists.
Right.
So if you report, they can at least start tracing these phone
Yeah.
numbers, and eventually what they try to do is break up the cell.
And on the next slide, by the way, we have the FTC phone number and website that people can go to.
Yes, it's very important. Again, when you're reporting, the thing that I want to let people know is that if it's not a stranger and it's your neighbor, who, for example, or yourself who's being abused by someone you know, and you live independently, you need to contact Adult Protective Services. It's very important to contact Adult Protective Services.
Okay.
On the other hand, if you're in a facility, you should be contacting the ombudsman, because the ombudsman act as the advocates for people who live in a facility.
Okay.
But as you said, all scams should be reported to the Federal Trade Commission.
Very good.
Even those scams where the IRS or the grand jury scam, I don't know if you've heard that one recently.
Yeah.
Kind of very similar to the IRS scam where they
Right.
tell you didn't attend jury duty.
Yes, I have heard that.
Yes,
Yeah.
now they need your money or at least your credit card information.
So that's the main thing is to report it. And you know what? If you forget these numbers, you got to remember one thing. Council on Aging or Orange County.
That's correct.
That's
they can
the
always
one
call
number
us.
you can call, 714-479-0107 or coaoc.org. Is it?
.org,
Yeah,
correct.
.org.
Yep.
As long as you remember that, you're good to go.
That's right.
Because that one number right there
We'll get you to the right
will get you to the right
resources.
people. Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you very much for coming
All
on.
right.
A lot of information.
Yes.
But the key thing is I understand you get to a certain age and you get those phone calls and you start talking to them. As I said, it happened to my dad. And just don't give out information
That's right.
to anyone that you don't personally know.
That's right.
And even then, be careful. Make sure you really know them.
And remember, if you suspect someone's being abused and you report it, calls, for example, to Adult Protective Services are made anonymously.
Yeah.
So they don't know who reported it, and if they find that there's nothing going on, it's not a problem because it doesn't come back to you. You don't have to worry about your neighbor being angry because you reported suspected abuse.
All right. Kelly, thank you very much.
All right,
Appreciate
thank
you
you.
coming on, and we'll be right back.
Thank you very much.